Aaron Levine, MD, PhD, was a distinguished full professor at Mount Sinai Medical School, specializing in the biochemistry of chromosomes. His lab was extensive, staffed with 5 postdocs and 7 graduate students, supported by 11 research grants, ensuring ample funding. His wife, Leah Levine, was a Manhattan attorney at a prominent law firm. They had been married for 17 years, having met at Harvard. He was finishing his PhD at the medical school, and she was completing her law degree. Both were striking. Aaron, tall at 6 feet 2 inches with wavy light blonde hair and light blue eyes. Leah, a statuesque 5 feet 11 inches with dirty blonde hair and equally light blue eyes. They shared type A personalities and were Orthodox Jews. Aaron wore a yarmulke and tallit under his shirt. They owned 2 homes, a large co-op on 350 Central Park West and a mansion in Chappaqua, Westchester County. Their family included 4 young children, a 4-year-old boy, twin girls aged 18 months, and a 6-month-old daughter. Despite their comfortable life, Aaron worried about the children. His long work hours, leaving before dawn and returning late, left him concerned about their upbringing and education. Leah suggested hiring a private tutor, but Aaron disliked the idea. Since Leah earned about 80% of their income, quitting wasn't an option. After much discussion, they decided Aaron would resign from his professorship to become a full-time father. He informed the chairman and dean at Mount Sinai, who thought it unusual but supported his choice. He wrapped up his grants and waited for his students to finish their theses. His resignation was scheduled for July of the following year, ending his research career. Aaron embraced his new role, designing educational plans for the children. He especially enjoyed playing sports with his son Aaron and shopping with his daughters, who quickly charmed him. One evening, while researching European history online, Aaron stumbled across English myths about witches and warlocks. He found spells claiming to transform men into women and vice versa. He read them with amusement, dismissing them as nonsense. He slept soundly but began having vivid dreams of being a suburban housewife caring for 4 children. In his dream, his husband was a steelworker resting on weekends. Waking at 2 a.m., sweating, he kissed Leah on the cheek and went back to sleep. The next day, he felt refreshed and started tutoring his kids. He kept the dream to himself. After a swim in the afternoon, he noticed his pants had become loose and his sleeves too long. He dismissed it and continued working. That evening, he told Leah about the loose clothing. She laughed, insisting he wasn't shrinking, but he felt uneasy. By the next day, Aaron had shrunk to Leah's size. His genitalia had also diminished. Concerned, Leah urged him to see Dr. Diane Ross, chairwoman of endocrinology. Aaron called Diane, explained the changes, and arranged an appointment for 4 p.m. With no fitting clothes or shoes, Leah insisted he borrow some of her pants and low-heeled shoes. He reluctantly agreed. Dressed in Leah's clothing, he noticed her pants were loose on him. Small chest buds had begun to form. Though strange, he accepted it as necessary. Driving to the medical center, fear gripped him, but he understood the need for diagnosis. Diane, an old friend from residency, examined him and ordered blood tests, including hormones and karyotyping, instructing him to call the next morning. Afterward, stuck in rush hour traffic, Aaron waited at the hospital cafeteria for about 90 minutes. His appearance had changed dramatically. He was now 5 feet 7 inches, with medium-sized, slightly drooping chests, a smaller waist, wider hips, and shoulder-length hair. He greeted old acquaintances, but none recognized him. Overwhelmed, he broke down in tears. He felt lost and unsure what to do next, so he took a cab to Bloomingdale's at 3rd Avenue and East 59th Street. Intending to buy small men's pants, the clerk instead directed him to the petite women's section. Looking in the mirror, he now saw a woman staring back, about 5 feet 2 inches tall with large chests. The clerk measured him and said he was a 28C with a petite 2 dress size and a size 5 shoe. His hair had grown long, reaching below his belly button, still wavy and light blonde like Aaron's, with the same light blue eyes. The clerk suggested he wear a bra for support, given his full chests. So, he ended up buying 5 dresses, 2 suits, 1 skirt and 1 dress, 4 pairs of shoes with minimum 4-inch heels, plenty of lingerie including bras, teddies, panties, pantyhose, and a beautiful silk robe and 3 coats, one of them a sable coat. After shopping, he took a taxi back to his car at the Mount Sinai garage, dressed in a stunning silver metallic Hevet ledger dress that hugged him tightly. His large chests were prominently displayed, and he wore 5-inch heels. When Aaron arrived home, Leah was shocked he had left as a man and returned as a petite, beautiful woman. He explained the day's strange transformations, describing his face as now model-like with high cheekbones and perfect, delicate features. He told her about seeing old colleagues at the medical center. None recognized him, and he hadn't revealed his identity to avoid ridicule. Meanwhile, his transformation continued. Feeling the bra, shoes, and dress loosen on him, he measured himself and found he was now just 4 feet 8 inches tall with chests between 26C and 26D. His dress and shoes were both too large. His voice had changed too, becoming a very high-pitched whisper with a noticeable southern drawl, like from Alabama or Mississippi. Drinking alcohol made him intoxicated quickly because of his small size. Afterward, he collapsed into bed. Leah lay beside him, stroking him tenderly, which he found comforting. The next morning, he was even smaller, about 4 feet 4 inches tall and weighing only 60 pounds. His chests had grown to a full D cup. Although his body was tiny, his proportions were similar to a much larger person. Leah woke, overwhelmed with tears, and Aaron soon joined her in crying. His voice remained a high-pitched southern accent. Leah called her secretary to inform her she wouldn't be at the office due to personality problems. The secretary, a tall, attractive woman named Michelle, replied, "I hope things get better soon." Leah agreed quietly. Realizing Aaron needed clothes, Leah measured him, 52 inches tall, 22.5-inch chest with D cups, an 18-inch waist, and 26.5-inch hips. Consulting girls' size charts, she found he fit a size 6 in girls' clothing. They planned a trip to Westchester Mall in White Plains to shop, including children's stores and 3 department sections. Aaron agreed, admitting he needed the clothes. His accent had become so thick even Leah struggled to understand him. Leah borrowed clothes from their son Aaron, now taller than Aaron, including sneakers, sweatpants, a Power Rangers t-shirt, and white socks. Aaron wore the clothes awkwardly but preferred them to nothing. His bra was loose but offered needed support. Leah offered makeup, but he declined for now. On the drive to Westchester Mall, Leah teased him about his height, joking that if he were a toddler, he'd be in the back seat. Aaron didn't like the remark and fought back tears but managed to hold them in. At Neiman Marcus, Aaron tried on petite sizes, but Leah told him they wouldn't fit. They turned to the girls' section. Although the waists were loose, the dresses fit well, and Aaron liked the typical girls' styles. He picked a lovely pink dress and bought Mary Jane shoes and very small panties. Spinning in delight, he couldn't explain why the dress made him so happy. Unable to find his bra size in the department store, they visited a lingerie boutique on Mamaroneck Avenue. The clerk, mistaking Aaron for Leah's daughter, helped him find the right size, and he purchased 10 bras. When asked the daughter's name, Aaron paused and said, "Julia Smith." Leah was surprised but pleased at his choice of a girl's name. Walking back to Leah's SUV, she asked if he felt like a woman or a girl now. Julia, Aaron's new identity, said, "I don't know. I feel so different, like emotions flooding my brain." Leah explained, "That's the estrogen. Plus, without the Y chromosome, there are other changes too." Julia nodded and quickly changed the subject. "Can I do my hair? It's too long." Leah agreed. They went to Leah's hairdresser in Chappaqua. Leah spoke to the stylist about Julia's hair, deciding on a toddler-style cut. Julia was amazed and grateful, hugging the stylist warmly. Around 5 p.m., they headed home but were stopped by a police officer. Julia was sitting in the front passenger seat when the officer explained that all children under 8 must be in the back with a car seat or booster. Leah received 2 tickets. She considered explaining that Julia was her husband and over 8 years old but decided against it. At home, the chef had already prepared dinner. The twins and youngest child were asleep, but Aaron was awake. He asked about the new girl. Leah glanced at Julia and said, "Her name's Julia. She's a distant cousin. Her parents died, so she's staying here." Aaron hugged her, and she hugged him back. "Welcome. My daddy and I run this house." "Are you from the South?" he asked. Julia laughed. "Yes, from Mississippi." The 3 shared dinner, and afterward, Aaron went to bed. Julia's tastes had shifted before. As Aaron, he enjoyed diverse ethnic foods, but now she preferred popcorn chicken, French fries, sweet cereals, sodas, juices, ice cream, and plenty of candy and cakes. She didn't like milk. Leah asked if her intellectual mind was still intact, pointing to her head. Julia replied, "Yes, but my emotions feel like a child's." Then she asked if they were still married. Leah kissed her and said yes. Julia thanked her warmly. Julia changed into a pink, floral gown with slippers while Leah wore a medium-length, elegant slip. Julia wished Leah good night and kissed her softly. Leah hugged her and shared that she had to leave for an 8-day business trip to Singapore, which Julia understood. That night, Julia fell asleep resting on Leah's belly. Leah awoke at 3 a.m. to find Julia asleep with her thumb in her mouth. She smiled and went back to sleep. Leah had an early start the next morning, leaving at 4 a.m. Since Julia was still asleep, Leah didn't wake her. After dressing and packing, Leah left a red rose on their bed beside Julia. When Julia woke, she showered and dressed in a lovely pink floral dress and Mary Jane shoes, tying her hair with a ribbon. She looked every bit the pretty young girl she now was. Downstairs, Julia greeted the 2 nannies and the chef. She knew the nannies from before, both tall, blonde, blue-eyed women from Sweden. They hadn't been told about Julia's transformation and assumed she was just a normal toddler. While having breakfast, a balanced meal of half a bagel with peanut butter, a clementine, and apple juice, one nanny, Elsa, asked about Julia's abilities. Smiling, Julia said she didn't need kindergarten lessons. Elsa was surprised and gently led her to the playroom. Julia warned that Leah wouldn't be happy, but Elsa insisted. Julia turned out to be a surprisingly good student, despite the irony of her adult intellect trapped in a child's body. She asked to call Leah, but Elsa refused, struggling with Julia's southern accent and slang. Aaron and Julia took an afternoon nap together. Julia admired how smart Aaron was and was surprised she needed to sleep during the day, something she never needed before. For 8 days, Julia attended kindergarten while Aaron was in pre-K. She enjoyed correcting his homework and gradually grew fond of the classes and teachers. Sometimes the nannies took the children shopping. One day, when temperatures dropped into the 20s, Julia needed winter clothes, coat, tights, boots, mittens. Another day, they visited the Norwalk Aquarium in Connecticut, which Julia loved. Gradually, her adult personality faded, replaced by the simple mindset of a typical 5-year-old. Though her body remained a miniature adult with large chests, her mind and emotions were those of a young child. 5 days after Leah's departure, Julia experienced her first menstruation. She was terrified, crying and sobbing. Elsa gave her a pad but explained she'd need tampons for heavier flow. She reassured Julia this was a normal part of being female. However, Julia's scientific knowledge slipped away, leaving only the memory that her parents had passed in a car accident. When Leah returned, the nannies updated her on Julia's menstruation and her diminished intellectual abilities. Early on, Julia had been sharp, but her mind had become average, as if her intelligence had vanished. Once everyone was asleep, Leah asked if Julia remembered Aaron. Julia responded, "Who is Aaron?" The question stunned Leah so deeply she collapsed to the floor in tears but quickly composed herself for Julia's sake. They spoke for about 70 minutes. Julia expressed her affection for the nannies and the children, though she admitted she didn't like boys, including Aaron, despite acknowledging his intelligence. She also loved the sea lions at the aquarium. Finally, Julia drifted off on Leah's bed, exhausted. Overwhelmed by exhaustion and the shock of Julia's transformation, Leah cried non-stop until dawn. She had to be up by 6 a.m. for work, so she called her secretary to let her know she'd be working from home and asked for any important documents to be emailed. The other 4 children were already awake with the nannies. Leah hugged and kissed them until the stars faded from the sky. The chef brought her some coffee and Greek-style yogurt. After playing with the kids, Julia came downstairs. Leah kissed her forehead and said, "Good morning." Julia replied, "Good morning, Mommy." It was the first time Leah heard Julia call her that. While they were deep into their studies, Leah called the architect to request an additional bedroom on the same floor as the children's rooms. The architect said she could prepare plans within 2 days, with construction taking 2 to 3 weeks. Leah was relieved. In the meantime, Julia would stay in her own bedroom. Then something unexpected happened. Julia transformed again, this time into a newborn baby, with no memories, a complete blank slate. Faced with this, Leah decided to adopt her as her own daughter. She contacted an old judge she trusted, who agreed to expedite the adoption. He said the paperwork could be prepared by the next day, with signing arranged at his chambers later that afternoon. At noon, Leah told Julia about the adoption. Julia didn't fully understand, but Leah explained she would now be her real mom forever. Filled with joy, Julia exclaimed, "Gaga," and hugged her tightly. Leah reassured her that the next day would be special. Elsa would take her to Leah's office, and then all 3 would ride together in a limo to meet a man named Isaac, who would finalize the adoption. After that, they would all be a family. The adoption proceeded smoothly, though there were some complications regarding Aaron's estate, which were resolved in time. Leah now had 5 wonderful children. Julia Smith Levine was the most remarkable, both her oldest daughter and her husband's reincarnation. Leah never remarried, despite many suitors. At age 55, Leah was nominated by the President to become Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. The President was the first Libertarian and Tea Party member in office. The Senate confirmed her overwhelmingly, 99-1, with the sole dissenting vote from a Vermont senator with communist leanings. Leah served as Chief Justice for 31 years, second only to John Marshall in tenure. All 5 children excelled in their fields. Julia became a cardiac surgeon and leading scientist in artificial hearts. She chaired the cardiac surgery department at Massachusetts General Hospital, then became the first female dean of Harvard Medical School. She had 8 children with her husband, a Latin scholar and professor at Wellesley College. Despite her demanding career, Julia prioritized special vacations for her family every year. Remaining a traditional Orthodox Jew, she rejected modern orthodoxy. She passed away peacefully at 100, surrounded by her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Her husband kissed her goodbye before she passed. Aaron earned a PhD in electrical engineering from MIT, becoming its first provost and then president. He was openly gay, partnered with the same man for 50 years. Together, they adopted 3 children, 1 boy and 2 girls, who grew up happily straight. The other 3 children also thrived in diverse pursuits. Did Leah miss Aaron? Absolutely, every moment and every day. Yet, she found joy in the wonderful family around her and lived a fulfilling life. If you appreciated this story and wish to show your support, don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.